How do you react when your partner/sibling/parents don't listen to your advices but listen to the same advices when given by an outsider? I roll my eyes. I know they won't take me as seriously as others, but whatever. I will probably point out to them what they did. But sometimes they just want to hear a different voice say it, or a professional, or to just get multiple ideas and shrug and let them make their choices. Usually people just don't listen to me and come back later and say ooh yay about that. But they made their choices. They learn over time to listen or not, but I'm always willing to give advice if they ask. Listening to the same advice from an outsider versus me is the same, and I don't take it personally. Let them make their choices. And try to help clean up the mess after if I can. It definitely hurts and makes me question my own validity and thoughts. But if the advice is to help the person and the person actually goes and gets the help, then it's fine and mission accomplished. I try not to focus on wanting to be the person to give the advice, and more so on making sure the person is working towards a better whatever it is they are going through. No longer give them advice as they don't respect your opinion. If you want a true answer, ask them to their face. Ask, why don't you listen to my advice but you do others? And pause. Let them speak. If they don't give you a proper answer, ask again till you are satisfied with their answer. I love putting people on the spot. It makes them realize what they are truly doing. Depends on the person and how many times it happens. Someone I don't care much about. Or the first few times it happens I just roll my eyes and move on, or I might laugh and say yeah, I said that, and someone who I love and who is supposed to love me and respect me, who I have given well-considered advice, I get very angry. If my opinion has no value to you, please don't pretend it does. What's a movie you watched several times, but you still enjoy it? Harry Potter. I watch it for nostalgia's sake, but I do enjoy it for the open-ended I can make fanfics out of its sake. The first Pirates of the Caribbean. I must have watched this movie over 20 times and it still entertains me like few. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a close second. Only listing movies of the past 10 years or so. The ones I rewatch the most are Arrival, Edge of Tomorrow, The First Avenger Winter Soldier. One movie I have watched several times and still enjoy is the Pixar classic, Up. Its heartfelt story and memorable characters always leave me feeling inspired. Heat, Donnie Brasco, Blood In Blood Out, American Me, Carlito's Way, Clerks, American Beauty, American Psycho, Pulp Fiction, Blade Runner, Glengarry Glen Ross, Heist, King of New York, Let the Right One, an Original, Made, Jon Favreau Vince Vaughn, Mean Streets, Save the Tiger, A Serious Man, Sneakers, Superfly, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Waterworld, #X200B. I have seen the movies above at least 25 times. I used to work on a military watch and we were allowed to watch movies to help us stay awake. Stardust, seen it at a minimum 8 times, but it's just one of those films I can watch no matter what mood I'm in and it's enjoyable every time. Honestly, just a brilliant movie and is top of the list. However, other films I've seen multiple times and can happily watch again. Lord of the Rings trilogy, Into the Spider-Verse, Avatar, and now Avatar 2, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Probably more, but these are the main ones that come to mind. What questions to ask at the end of a job interview when they ask, do you have any questions? And How often are people expected to be on call during the weekends? How long does the average new hire take to get up to speed in the position? Do they prefer to hire internally or externally? Do you wear wigs? Here's some questions I ask. Is the position remote, on-site, or hybrid? Is relocation required? If so, is there reimbursement? What are the work hours like? In what time zone? Assuming the position is remote and located in another time zone. How soon should I expect a response? Are there social events to get to know my coworkers? You should be interviewing them as well. How do you know if you want the job if you don't ask about the job? What's the day in the life? What would your responsibilities be? What's the path to move up in the org? Why did the last person who had this position leave it? Asking questions is a good sign that you are invested in the interview and getting the job. That being said, don't just ask questions for the sake of asking something. Before the interview, I would take a few minutes to write down a few questions, and if they don't get answered over the course of the interview, ask them at the end. Also, take notes during the interview in case anything you'd like ask more about comes up. But if you have no questions at the end, that's fine. How big is the team I will be working on? What kind of tools, software/hardware, does your company use? Is this position in office only or hybrid? What are the typical work hours for this office? Are there any perks to this job unique to this company? Is travel expected? Or this job might be in a different state? You should probably ask questions about the local area. Whether and what kinds of fun things there are to do in the area. You are about to move there and build a life there. If you are interested in upward momentum, you should also ask about career advancement opportunities. What's the controversy behind the new Harry Potter game? I'm kinda out of the loop. Because people are getting offended at anything that isn't pro-trans. J.K. Rowling has been under fire lately for her transphobic views, and people are realizing how shitty Harry Potter is. The plot of the new game is seen as anti-Semitic because it revolved around goblins, which are portrayed using anti-Semitic stereotypes of exaggerated facial features and greed, abducting children, and you, the protagonist, are tasked with putting down the Goblin Rebellion. Which is goblins rebelling against a racist system and demanding equal rights. Equal rights is portrayed as a bad thing that must be quashed. So the plot of the game is, essentially, the Jews are stealing our children and demanding equal rights. Go put down this rebellion! And quote. Definitely partly the fact that J.K. Rowling has some horrific views on trans people's right to exist in the world and uses her fame to continue to espouse those views. But in addition, it's also partly to do with the central plot of the game reading like someone basically just transcribed the protocols of the Elders of Zion and changed Jews to goblins and left it at that, thinking nobody would notice. I'm excited for the game. People are just hating on J.K. Rowling because they don't agree with her opinion about trans people. She made an awesome book series, and her not liking trans people is not a reason for her to get cancelled or for the game to get hate. There are celebrities that have done/said much worse. The trans community and other progressives hate J.K. Rowling because she dares to stand against them and believe that trans women and women are not the same. She has no hate against them. But she just wants people to acknowledge while they are similar, they are not the same. Since anything Wizarding World related gets royalties put into her pocket, you'll have people telling you not to buy the game.